Just a second.
We'll do fully in English. We can have large audience. Hey everyone.
Hey Bruno.
Hey, how you doing? So thanks everyone for being here. Representing Java here, I'd like to thank you your participation. It's the reason why we do Java as groups is because of you guys, right? And we don't want you to be watching only. We want you to be here speaking, right? That's actually this is why we created. So when we created Java in 1998. What we wanted was to start creating. 1998. There's not a lot of people talking about Java, right? So we really wanted to start creating a group of people that were willing to come here and share experiences. So although Java grew a lot and it's a very large group, we want you to be a speaker here with us, right? So if you have any idea, anything that you want to share, any good things, bad things that happen, we want you here to come here and share with us, right? And let me tell you one thing. There's a lot of ways that you can grow your career. A lot, right? You can participate in the JCP. You can work on open source. You can, do all kinds of things. You can take certifications. You can do, take a new degree. You can. There's all kinds of ways.
Coursera.
There's all kinds of things you can grow your career. But the one thing that I know it's guaranteed to make you grow your career, because I have never seen someone do this not growing their career. The one thing I know it's guaranteed is sharing what you know, right? Once you start sharing, a lot of things happen. So that's why we create Java, so to allow all of us here to come here and share, right?
And you don't have to be a super expert to share. That's the thing.
That's
if you just, if you know a little bit about a new thing, it's good to share even that much that you know.
Yeah. So the key here is
to be a first step to learn something. Like I would like to learn about JSF, so let's write a blog about it.
Right. Yeah. Make it a blog post or whatever it is.
Yeah. So the key here is share what you know. I don't need to learn new things to start sharing. You can share whatever you know, and by sharing what you know, you can learn even more. Okay. So thanks everyone for being here, and I'd like to thank Oracle for providing this space. Oracle is a good partner, has been with us for a long, long time. Actually, when we started Java in 1998, we had 3 sponsors, right? It was Sun, of course, IBM, and Oracle, right? So Oracle has been with us since the very, very, very beginning. And so we thank you a lot, Oracle, for supporting us here. Thanks a lot, guys. And finally, I'd like to thank Ed from coming all the way from sunny Orlando. And coming here and spend this week with us, come here to share his knowledge. It's always good to have you here, Ed, right? Thanks very much for taking the trip. And we another reason why we create a user group is because we can be a place where amazing people can come and share, right? If we don't have a place for them to share, they don't come, right? So, or they come to another event and they go to the beach and don't stop.
Yeah, whenever I'm in town, basically I come to Java.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Thanks a lot, Ed, for doing this. And finally, but not least, right? I'd like to thank Otavio. Otavio is not only he's the treasurer of Java, right? So he's the one that has to do all the
hard work,
paperwork,
the operations,
right? The operations of all of these. But Otavio has been handling our online meetups and for a long time. So thanks a lot, Otavio, right? So just a round of applause for these guys here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's make this very easy and simple, right? The idea here is whatever you guys want to discuss. It can be Java, it can be future, it can be past, it can be Oracle, it can be Kubernetes, cloud, anything. Career, right? Open source, anything you want. That's what we're going to discuss, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to actually start like the question with Otavio here. So when I spoke at Java last year, I was here for Campus Party, and I forget what I even talked about, but
You came here for a career discussion, right? So you talk about your book.
The book, okay.
You have your book with you?
I sold them all.
You sold them all?
Oh,
Right,
nice.
okay. That working, okay.
But I'll bring more next time. All right.
Please.
But you gave a talk, Octavio, about the SQL, no SQL thing, and you were getting ready to do it as a JSR. And now when I saw you earlier today, I said, hey, how's the JSR going? And you had a very interesting story. So let me set this up. I had spent most of my career doing JCP stuff. A good 12 years on JSF, maybe even 14. I started in 2002. So yeah, really long time. And then the last couple of years also for Servlet. So I really got to see how JCP could really power people's careers. I've seen people come in to expert groups, make a contribution, and go on to do great things. Like for example, in JSF 2.0, it used to be before JSF 2.0, if you wanted to write a UI thing, you had to do it with JSP. So you'd use JSP and Faceless, or JSP and JSF together. Someone came in from the open source and said, I've written another view technology for JSF, and that was called Faceless. So he came in through open source, and he joined the JCP, became an expert group member, and now he's like a VP at his company. So he really did very well. He helped the world by donating Faceless to JSF, but he also helped his career. And I can see tons of other examples that I've had personal experience with. So when we handed off Java EE to the Eclipse Foundation a couple years ago now, and they founded the Jakarta EE project, the big question on everyone's mind was, well, what is happening to JCP? JCP was the place where Java standardization happens. You know, new things coming into the official Java would come in through the JCP. And that was also, in addition to being a big career thing, it's a big pride thing to say, you know, I came into Java and now the thing that I made is in the core Java distribution or the Java EE distribution. So that's kind of neat. But last year, there was this notion of, well, what are we doing for standardization in Eclipse? And now what you've told me earlier today, that there's the Eclipse standardization process, or Jakarta, what is it called?
Jakarta EE,
Yeah.
The Jakarta EE specification.
Okay, and so this is like JCP, but it's for Jakarta.
Yeah.
But it's technically an organizationally separate, a different governance body.
Yeah, the whole idea right now is to move out the Oracle
Okay.
and involve more companies. And that's nice because right now you can see Microsoft, you can see even Pivotal, and the people every time say, okay, you cannot choose both Spring and Java EE. And right now you can see like the Spring company joined to Jakarta to.
All right, now let me tell you, I'm glad to hear that, but I personally have invested lots of personal social capital trying to invite Pivotal to various JCP things over the years. I've actually been in meetings with Rod Johnson and Gavin King trying to come together on, you know, what ended up being CDI. And we ended up having this JSR 330 plus CDI thing, which is kind of a split, but that's the best compromise we could come up with. And I'm glad to see they're joining because for some reason, maybe they were just like, well, we're not going to get involved because it was run by Oracle, although it really wasn't, really always was an open process.
Yeah.
So I hope they come to it in good faith because they're a market leader in terms of what people are doing with Spring Boot. There's no question about that. But I would just like to say it's not for lack of effort. We definitely have I've put in a lot of effort over the years to try to bring Spring into JCP. In fact, one of the features we added in JSF 2.3 was influenced by Spring Webflow. So they were always a good partner for us in the JSF expert group.
Yeah. I can see more about it, like the GNOSQL specification.
Yes, tell us about that.
The guy who is the manager from Spring Data give us a lot of feedback about the process, about the API, and also because we can see this, it's working right now. And I can see his feedback about it. Like, okay, don't do that because you did that and that was wrong.
Right.
So it's keep this stuff, So the whole idea of the GNOSQL right now is try to make Spring Data 2.0 because we can see what he did wrong and improve it a
Okay,
little bit more.
that's great.
And that was a amazing experience. And also I can say about Microsoft
Mhm.
because they have now the Columns DB and they're working to do native integration with Eclipse and SQL.
Cool.
So that's kind of stuff that's could be impossible on JCP and like looks more easier on the Eclipse Foundation place.
So do you expect that,
Just one comment, because I think that was one of the requirements from Oracle in terms of donating the whole thing to Jakarta EE, to Eclipse, was exactly that the process would not, Jakarta EE would not evolve under the JCP, right? So that was because the whole point was to to get this whole process completely outside of Oracle control, outside of the JCP. Although we do think that JCP is a very open process, and it's still the JCP is an Oracle organization, right? There's no JCP organization. There's just Oracle.
well,
Right, so-
I'll put it this way, the people that run JCP are on the Oracle payroll. So JCP is an open thing.
Yeah,
The
but
fact
no,
is
no,
that-
it's more, it's a little bit more than that, because the agreement, it's, everyone makes an agreement with Oracle.
Right.
Right, so the whole idea of the Jakarta EE was that you get this out of Eclipse to stop the agreement
Get it out of
with
Oracle. Right.
And so I think that there is a little bit of some attrition now, because you have to recreate the process and redo everything. Seems like a duplication of effort. But on the other hand, we now have a process that's not tied to Oracle, and that's and I think it's a non-profit organization. That's a very, very interesting start for Jakarta EE, I think.
Yeah, and for me, I'm very pleased to see Arjun Times leading the Omnifaces group. So they're going to continue to develop JSF. He says they're going to work on a JSF 3.0 and a 2.4 coming up. So I'm really excited that that's going to continue.
Yeah, the point is that it's a
Put it
trade-off.
closer.
Okay, thank you. The trade-off, because right now Eclipse Foundation is basically making the new process.
Right.
And that's me a delay to release new version of everything.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years, and right now just have a logo and a new picture.
Oh, wait. I was talking to the guys from Eclipse the other day, and the full donation of the source code and everything hasn't finished yet. Right? There's still some documents being signed and everything. So even if everything else was ready, we still would not be able to release a new thing. Right? So I think both things are going in parallel, and I understand it takes some time.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
But to me as a developer, I really don't care about it. I want new features. I don't care about the law stuff, the procedure stuff. I don't care to the politics stuff, because as you can see, Spring does release every 3 months. And I'd like to see the same thing on Jakarta EE side, right?
Well, all right, so this is a very important difference, and this again ties into the Spring thing. While Spring is and always has been an open source thing, it has never been and never will be a multi-vendor thing.
Yeah.
You can't go to some other company and buy Spring. You can only buy Spring from the Spring people. You can only use Spring from the Spring people. With Java EE and also with Jakarta EE, you will have the choice.
Java in general.
With Java in general, even more so now than in the past. But
Yeah, but release like 6 months Java version right now. So we can
well,
do something
let me just
different.
finish making the point. Part of the reason why Spring can go so fast is there's only one implementation.
Yeah.
If you have to do clean implementations of the stuff and you have to guarantee that they interoperate, then that's definitely going to take more time. But as a developer, you are avoiding having to be locked in to one particular vendor. Because vendors can, change their tactics, they can change their strategies. And so I think that's important to point out. It can be sold, and Spring Source has been several times.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, but I want to move to you guys. Questions, guys? Comments about anything? Come on, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you gotta go down there. Do your Phil Donahue, come on.
Come on. Who hasn't? You?
Get it started for us.
Let me get started. Who else? No one? Just gonna let this guy ask questions?
Who's ready for the pizza?
Yeah.
I know,
Do you guys see any merge between Jakarta and microprofile in the next few years?
I believe that the thing is the scope. Microprofile looks for Microsoft stuff, and the project looks to be faster because that's not a specification. And Jakarta looks more to specification stuff. I mean, that's important to keep split from my perspective, because I can run faster on the microprofile, something like reactive program. Right now, we have like a product to run in GraphQL. That doesn't make sense to Jakarta stuff because specification. But just to try to do a shot on the microprofile, that makes sense. We have a several discussion about that in Mailist, and the answer used to be like, okay, let's keep split because it's important to microprofile go faster than Jakarta.
Okay. Well, let me ask the audience then. Is anyone out there concerned about the vitality and future of Java itself in the enterprise with regard to other competing technologies like Go and Python and Node? Is anyone worried about that? Or is everyone just like, fine, okay, Java's going to be great. It's going to be, we got it solved.
Ask a question so people can raise their hands.
Okay.
Ask like an open.
Who is using Python? Anyone using Python? Okay. Do you like using Python?
For some we use Python in some specific
things.
Specific things,
Right.
Like machine learning
Absolutely.
for security.
That's the answer. Okay.
We all use Python in there.
Right.
But I don't like it.
It seems to, I mean, the language itself is okay, but the ecosystem is a real pain getting things to run and keep running. Every time if I have a thing that works in Python and I put it aside for 6 months, and then I try to run the thing, everything fails, and I have to do a bunch of blog searching, and I must be just an idiot, but that's how I feel. It's, I don't like using technology that makes me feel like an idiot. So
That's how I feel too. I actually had a pretty cool stuff that on my customers,
right,
that was running, and then someday it's not running anymore.
you don't know why.
I don't know why. I could never get it running again.
Python is the scope of the language because machine learns more to math people, and Java is to engineer people, and we have more ecosystem, we have more frameworks to do enterprise stuff than Python.
So I'll give a plug. The talk I gave last Tuesday at TDC was table stakes or deal makes, programming language platform growth. And in the talk, I looked at Java, JavaScript, Node, Python, and Go, and compared them on lots of different domains. And one of them was like, what is the killer app for the language? So for Python, it's definitely machine learning. But I would say for Java, the key killer app is like enterprise. You could even say CRUD. CRUD could be the killer app for Java, but you know, I think it's in good shape. So, you have a question?
Yeah. Ed, one of the question, I'm also a community leader, and the question that I heard most currently, it's about what we should study now, what are the trends, what do you recommend to do? Because in fact, everybody is afraid about their own job.
Of course, right.
The people really don't know whether the job will exist in the future or not. And when I mean the future is in the next 5 years.
Right,
okay?
I know.
So what do you recommend to the people? For example, right now, I want to start now. What are the trends? What are the languages? What are the tools that you recommend or you see that the next 5 or 10 years will have a good chance to exist?
Okay, well, I can look at my own career and my own level of frustration with various things in terms of the transition to the cloud. And so that's where it's going, right? So data centers that are locally managed, with people that run around with pagers. That's not going to be something that is. So everything has to be remotely deployable and automatable. So if you have, I think, one of the biggest skills that I've seen, in fact, I uncovered this in the Rockstar Programmer book. I talked to a lot of programmers, and Kosuke Kawaguchi is one of the guys I talked to. He's the guy that invented Hudson, now Jenkins. And he described himself as lazy. He said, I'm just lazy. And the reason he meant what he was meaning there is if he has to do something repetitively, he will write a tool to do it for him. So if you can gain skill at somehow being able to look at a process and figure out the bits that can be automated, and then writing the tool to do the automation, that is going to be a super important skill. Now that doesn't translate to go learn X, go take this go take this Coursera course on X. This is a much higher level tip that I'm giving you, but figure out how to, if you can automate yourself out of existence and then control the programs that you wrote to automate yourself out of existence, you're basically up-leveling your productivity. So I guess the tool would be look for tools that are really super productive. Here's another example. I had a chance to do a bit with Go recently, and I was going through the Go programming language book. It's an O'Reilly book. And I think Brian Kernighan is one of the co-authors. You remember Kernighan, right? Maybe is it Richie that's the co-author? One of them passed away, right? Does anyone know? I'm sorry to say, but anyhow, one of the C guys co-authored this Go book. And it has examples that you have to do, and just go do this. So one of the examples is write an HTTP server that queries a bug database and gets the stuff back and puts it in a list. And I'm like, I look at that as an example. That's a lot of work. Like, I'm going to have to write something that opens up a TCP socket and does accept. No, everything is in the Go language to already do that. So what used to be a huge amount of work is now demoted to a simple example in a book that you should just be able to do by reading the book. And that's amazing, because you just go for the tools that have a lot of productivity baked in. So I guess another tip would be look at newer languages, or look at the newer developments that Java is having, right? So I would say since Java 8, if you look at Java 8 and don't look at anything before it, it's a totally modern language. And especially now with the switch statements, which we basically borrowed from Swift, it's a very vital new language. So Java's main problem is it's got all this stuff before it. If we could somehow get people to come to Java and just have them look at 8 and above, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah, let me comment on this a little bit. That is a very good question. What technologies I should learn? And the thing is, behind that question, what I hear is, okay, I'm a Java developer today, right? What am I going to be tomorrow? And the problem that I'm being struggling with lots of people is that you guys are not Java developers, right? You're problem solvers. That's what you are. A Java a developer that says I am a Java developer, for me is similar to a carpenter that says I'm a hammer specialist, right? You're not a hammer specialist, right? You build cabinets, you build roofs. There's some kind of problem that you solve. So I would love to see all of you guys to choose hard problems to solve, right? So so you can choose finance problems, healthcare problems. You can choose even cloud problems, or even what Ed was talking about. You can choose very hard automation problems, and then you can use any kind of language, any kind of tools, any kind of technology that you want to solve those problems. And some are going to be easier, some are going to be not harder. So you're going to be able to navigate in all that. So the deeper you go, the deeper problem solver you become, and having a lot of tools, right? As a carpenter, having lots of different tools to use in different things, it's a lot better than just having one tool to try to fix things. So that's my suggestion to you. If you're worried about the future, become a very good problem solver in some specific area, in some specific problem, because that will get your value way up, right? And since I'm talking about carpenters here, If you can imagine that, people say, but if I specialize something like this, I'm going to have less job opportunities, right? And yes, you will. But all you want is one great job opportunity. You don't want to, thousands. You can just get one anyway, right? And if you think about it, as a carpenter, I don't think there's a lot of if you specialize in building roofs for churches and old churches, old cathedrals, there's not a lot of work for you. But then you're gonna be the one guy that's gonna get you that's gonna be called to fix Notre Dame's cathedral, right? And that is a much more interesting thing to do than just putting roofs on any kind of houses, right? So that's what I kind of think. Think about what is the biggest problem you can solve, right? And go for that. Because no matter what happens, no matter what technology changes, the person that knows how to solve a big problem is always going to be we always going to need that person.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I would point out is an area to grow. I think there's going to be a lot of demand for people who are good at continuous integration and delivery. That space is not mature. I thought it was, I thought Hudson was the answer or Jenkins was the answer, but now you had like GitLab and you had Travis, and there's lots of different ones. And then I was talking to Edson Yanaga, who you guys probably know. They have, there's this new thing called Knative, which is a serverless thing for Google Cloud Platform. Really for any Kubernetes, but he demos it on Google Cloud Platform. But it has a thing called builder containers, where actually you're doing the building of the software in the Kubernetes cluster that's actually running the software. So it's like CI in the cloud, but in the same cloud as the actual app is going to run. So it's a really crazy concept, and I think that's worth doing.
A couple of customers, yes, but not with this new tool. But we're doing this with Jenkins, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's a great place to study, and that's one thing. You can go take a Coursera course on continuous delivery.
Yeah, let me add a little bit to this, because there's a big problem. If you want to solve a huge problem, there's a big problem right now. And Forbes has been saying for several years now that now today every company is a software company, right? So that's the saying that Forbes has been saying for a while. And think about what that means, right? It means that every company produces and delivers software, right? So either your company is a software company, or your company doesn't know it is a software company, right? So each company you want to work for, right? So we all have a very big responsibility to get our companies to understand that they are software companies, and that the main thing they should be doing right now is having this whole CI, CD, whatever you want to call it, but the whole process of delivering software. If you don't have that, you will fail, right? So, our company should be, that's a huge problem. And, you're saying it's not a mature industry. And the reason it's not there's a lot of cool tools that you could use, but a lot of companies have no idea that they should be doing it. So I think this is a big problem for us to solve.
Yeah, and I've actually seen some high-powered software developers leave the development world, so to speak, and work at like regular companies because they're going to be the people who are trying to help that company understand that it is a software company. Right. One of the guys I know is Andrzej Grzic. He's a Java champion, young guy from Poland, but he's like, I'm leaving the industry and I'm going to go work for Burberry. They make really hot suits and great stuff. But he's like their IT guy, but not just the IT guy, like, oh, the server's down, no. Reinvent the whole business to be software as a business.
That's a cool. Great opportunity. Man.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. For all of you guys, that's a great opportunity. Now, there's one more interesting opportunity that we should all take a look at. That is hot food outside.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think we should close.
All right, so I'd like to thank everyone who's watching us and being with us online. Again, I'd like to thank Ads and Otavio. And we're going to continue the conversation, guys, but outside with hot food. And Elder wants to take a picture, right? We all How about we all come
Yeah,
here,
all right, I
take
want
a
this
picture, and then we all go